Money is really just an idea. Education is the foundation of success. Just as scholastic skills are vitally important, so are financial skills and communication skills. The idea that success can happen overnight is crippling the financial future of generations. You have to work for it. It does not take money to make money. For winners, losing inspires them. For losers, losing defeats them. The reason so many people fail to achieve success is because they fail to fail enough times. If you learn life's lessons, you will do well. If not, life will just continue to push you around. People do two things. Some just let life push them around. Others get angry and push back. But they push back against their boss, or their job, or their husband or wife. They do not know it's life that's pushing. Many people start a business only to make money. Just to make money is not a strong enough mission. Even when you win, you lose, if you didn't learn something. Business and investing are team sports. More important than the how we achieve financial freedom, is the why. Find your reasons why you want to be free and wealthy. The benefit of living in a free society is that we all have the choice to be rich, poor, or middle class. The decision is up to you. As I said, I wish I could say it was easy. It wasn't, but it wasn't hard either. But without a strong reason or purpose, anything in life is hard. Giving honest and well-intended feedback is often confused with being mean. It's not mean, it's nice. I'd rather welcome change than cling to the past. My father was a university professor and his thing was tenure. Any time I hear a university professor say tenure, I hear the word dinosaur. You're not supposed to be getting tenure. You're supposed to be figuring out how you can teach more students at a better price and more effectively. That's your job. If you cannot sell, you cannot be an entrepreneur. If you cannot sell, you cannot raise money. If the thought of sales terrifies you, get a job at a department store and start there. Or get a job with a company like Xerox that requires that you go around to businesses and knock on doors. As your courage increases, you may want to try a company in network marketing or direct sales that is willing to train you. With any method of attaining great wealth, there is a price, and price is not always measured in money. If you #fail, learn. If you succeed, relish your #success. You can only know the sweet taste of #victory after many bitter struggles. The most important job of the entrepreneur begins before there is a business or employees. The job of an entrepreneur is to design a business that can grow, employ many people, add value to its customers, be a responsible corporate citizen, bring prosperity to all those that work on the business, be charitable, and eventually no longer need the entrepreneur. Before there is a business, a successful entrepreneur is designing this type of business in his or her mind's eye. According to my rich dad, this is the job of a true entrepreneur. Losers are those who are afraid of losing. Texans don't bury their failures. They get inspired by them. They take their failures and turn them into rallying cries. Failure inspires Texans to become winners. But that formula is not just the formula for Texans. It is formula for all winners. The boundaries of a person's reality often do not change until that person forsakes what he or she feels confident in and then goes blindly with faith. You can always quit, so why quit now? True leaders inspire us to be bigger and do things we are afraid of doing. In order to be a player on the fast track, you will need to have a plan on how to gain more and more control. On the fast track, it is control more than money that counts. Being prepared for a job is a good idea for the short term, but it is not enough for the long term. Leadership is what you need to learn next. Rich Dad has taught me you can't do it doesn't necessarily mean you can't. It more often means they can't. Most people spend their lives building financial houses of straws, which are susceptible to wind, fire, rain, and big bad wolves. Does God say, cut back on the sunsets? No, our Maker is abundant. Leverage can come in many forms. Leverage can be your thoughts. People who win are careful with their thoughts, not saying, I can't do that. Or, it's too risky. Or, I can't afford it. Instead they say, how can I do that? Or how can I reduce my risk? Or, how can I afford it? Fear is too strong, the genius is suppressed. Typically the person who raises the money, or puts up the money to start the business, owns the lion's share of the business. So learn how to sell and keep learning. It will usually be your own fear that you have to overcome. Right now, the technological world plus God or spirituality is evolving. I think America has become a little bit too corrupt, governments a little too corrupt, too greedy. Many corporations are too greedy. The labor unions are too greedy. That affects charities and religious organizations. I just think it's greed. That's why, in 1985, I had to figure out how to give before I received. The more I focus on giving, for less and less, the more and more I make. A prediction is a prediction because it's predictable. A network marketing business is the perfect business for people who like helping other people. My task is how I can learn to make money from that by giving first. I'm always constantly looking at how I can do more and more for less and less. The primary reason people seek job security is because that is what they are taught to seek, at home and at school. Then with debt loads, they must cling even tighter to a job, or professional security, just to pay the bills. A winner is just someone who doesn't give up when they lose. When your own mind tells you to quit, you must ignore your negative thoughts and press on. Are you really going to let a toilet stand in the way of you and financial independence? A call for women. To rise up what it really takes for the reward of financial freedom. Those who are humble enough to learn anew will succeed in this new age. One of the hardest things a person who is new to the way of business thinking has to go through is the countless number of people who will say to you, you can't do that. I grew up playing football and hunting, and went to military school and then into the Marine Corps. Kindness is not a valued trait. That's why I had to learn kindness. As I grow older, I'm finding it's something I definitely need to put focus on, thought and practice. Kindness actually comes from the heart, so it's really stretching inside of me. It's been quite a magical journey for me to learn to be kinder in my dealings with other people. I thrive on the adrenaline of excitement and danger. I just cannot stand boredom on the other side of it. Why am I a person who loves guns? I have no idea. Why do I like to go hunting? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Why does somebody love golf? Because that doesn't make sense to me either. In my opinion, the United States and many Western nations have a financial disaster coming, caused by our educational system's failure to adequately provide a realistic financial education program for students. If you had seen me back in high school, there's no way you would have ever said I would become an author or teacher because I was a horrible student. Life is a game, where either you lose or you learn. Passion pushes you to learn more, create more, and to create better. Best of all, it's contagious. The economy is in tatters, your job is in trouble, if you still have a job. And you know what? I've been saying it for years. Today, investing is no longer just a good idea for women. It is a must-have. I don't know why I am internally a violent person. I don't have the normal nerve endings most people do, which was very good for me as a pilot in Vietnam. When most people are afraid, I'm actually quite excited about things. The more dangerous something is, the happier I am. I have learned, adversity can be one of the greatest gifts of all. You will make some mistakes, but, if you learn from those mistakes will become wisdom, and wisdom is essential to becoming wealthy. One method of staying ahead of rising asset prices and the declining dollar is to think bigger and come up with better plans. As important as financial and business planning is a plan for personal development and self-improvement. I'm often asked to invest in people's business plans, and one of the reasons I turn many of them down is because a big plan requires a big person who's spent time on personal development. In a lot of cases, a business plan is far bigger than the person with the plan, that is, the dream is bigger than the dreamer. I don't like medicine. There's an old Irish proverb that goes, if I knew where I was going to die, I wouldn't go there. I suspect that I'm going to die in a hospital, so every time I go past one, I drive really quickly to get away from those things. So I spend a lot of money on health, gyms, I go to naturopaths, acupuncturists, anybody else who's almost the alternative to medicine. I think by the time you need medicine, it's too late. That's my belief. I'm actually a lot happier because I work as a teacher, more than just a capitalist making money for myself. So if you think America's politicians and citizens are willing to make the changes necessary to strengthen the US dollar, then don't buy silver. But if you're like me and don't expect us, as a nation, to take our medicine, then short the dollar, and the way you short the currency is by going long on gold and silver. I can't afford it, shut down your brain. It didn't have to think anymore. Besides, it also brings up sadness. A helplessness that leads to despondency and often depression. How can I afford it? Opened up the brain. Forced it to think and search for answers. It also opens up possibilities, excitement and dreams, and created a stronger mind and dynamic spirit. The more I risk being rejected, the better my chances are of being accepted. Throughout history, every government that's printed money, the money has eventually gone to its ultimate value, which is zero. Remember? The Confederate dollar went to zero. The Continental went to zero. That's what happens when you have a bank that's allowed to print as much money as it wants to. Tomorrows only exist in the minds of dreamers and losers. You want to know a little about a lot. The primary reason I'm in real estate, oil, gold, and silver is because the US dollar has become the peso of the world. It's becoming more and more worthless as the US is the world's biggest debtor nation.